Are we live? Hmm. I think we are live. So, welcome everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, or very good morning to you people who are logged in from US. I hope Piyush Bhai is here. Uh, Today we are going to talk something about OS workflow, free or OS workflow management. Uh, this one we have been using on my personal stuff as well. So this is a topic which is very interesting and kind of becoming the norm in the modern stack, where workflow engines, for example, let's say you have a workflow where you need to capture but do it offline rather than being an online system. It's not like Amazon, but once you trigger an order, what happens in the background is normally a workflow. So we're going to talk something similar on an OSS tool, OSS free. And by the way, this is not a sponsored video by n8n or nothing. They have not told me to do it, and we are not doing it for paid money. No, this is totally personal stuff, and none of the views I'm going to put on is sponsored by n8n. So with me today, I have my good friend, Mr. Akshay. So if you want to say hello on the chat channel, Akshay, please go ahead and do it. Um, and we will wait for 1 or 2 minutes to see uh, if anyone is um, want to think. Okay. Let me see. Looks like we have some people online, correct, Akshay? Oh, okay. Okay, shall we wait for 1 more minute and before we talk? But for people who are here a little bit, we can say that today is workflow management again. This is to do automated repeatable stuff with n8n. Looks like Nitin is online as well, correct? Yeah. Okay. Um, right. Shall we start? I think we should. Right. Welcome everybody. Welcome to Agile Guru. Agile Guru is a channel where people can come and learn with myself, Guru Murthy Raghupati, but people call me Guru. And of course, I have with me Mr. Akshay Kumar, who will be coming online using Google Meet after a little bit later, maybe around the end, where he will be doing some work with us. So it's not only me. There is a lot of things which goes in the background with Akshay, and there are more people who are going to join Agile Guru, where they will be sharing a lot of knowledge and all those things. For people who are here, if you can show some energy by saying hello or why you are here and what is the purpose and everything, that would be really great. But let's continue. Okay, now for today's topic, uh, what is the agenda? The agenda is what are workflow engines and why low code and no code engines, what does that mean and everything, and why n8n in particular. And of course we will be doing a demo. The first 3 slides will take around 5 to 6 minutes, not more than that, and then we will be doing a demo. The demo version will be a web-based one, which will look something like this. But don't I will say leave without saving, and then where we'll be doing a demo. But you don't need to have a web-based application. You can use the app to do it. We will be doing it, and after 20-30 minutes I will be shutting down the broadcast, and then we will do online chatting as usual. um, Akshay, if you can do me a favor, uh, um, if you can let people know what is the Google Meet live chat link, that would be great. Yeah, you can share in the chat box so that after 20-25 minutes, once we have finished with the demo, we can get people online and they can ask questions, which of course will not be recorded because the broadcasting will be stopped so that people can work within their privacy and people who do not want them to be recorded and played on YouTube. So that's acceptable. Right? Any idea how many people are online on the video? Okay, fine. Yeah, okay. Not bad. I think it's Saturday afternoon. Maybe people just had their lunch or something like that. Okay, cool. So let's continue. And of course, after that, we have a bonus announcement. The bonus announcement will be at the end. And please stick around till the end. Or if you're watching this offline and you already know about n8n, just literally go to the end and scroll and find out what is this bonus announcement is all about. So let's continue. Now, what is workflow engines? Now, normally, let's say if you, it's about two things. One is process management. Let's say this is not your process of processing of food or something like that. For example, let's say if you place an order on Amazon, what you normally do is you say, I like this product and I'm going to place an order. And then it goes into your order book. That's it. And then when you go and see the updates, it tells you that it has been picked and it is being shaved and it is being given. It's in the courier. What this happens is it's a software driven workflow system which gets input, real time inputs on what people do. And this is how it is tracked. And this can be a standalone system or it can also feed into other systems. And how it does that, we will show a little bit later. As I mentioned, it's a step-based system. So let's say if you order something, first it is placement is ordered, then the payment is confirmed, and then someone in the fulfillment center will take up the order and go, okay, I need to do these steps. Next is there is some pre and post. For example, picking up the order will not be started unless the payment is confirmed because we don't want to send it for free. There will be post also. For example, once it is delivered or once the shipment, the product is picked, you will attach a label which says what address it needs to go to. So what we call the pre and the post steps, right? And notification. Notification can be internal, external, or next process. For example, let's say when take for example pizza delivery. Normally, what happens is once you accept, it sends you a text that the person has left uh, the 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 restaurant or what we call the delivery center, and the person is online. Sorry, on his bike or in the car, who's coming to give you the delivery. Notification is to let people know about the progress. Now, from a workflow perspective, it's step based as I mentioned. But how does this work? Normally, it's a trigger or an event. An event is like, for example, a website is down. A monitoring system will pick it up and then do something. Or it's a trigger. Trigger can be manual, scheduled, or on a webhook. For example, if you look at DevOps things, for example, CI/CD, when you commit to Git, let's say GitHub, it triggers Jenkins. For example, how does it use it? It uses something called webhook. Webhook is nothing but a triggering system, right? So similar. So it can be event based or trigger based or even both. As I mentioned, from now manual is like you click something and do a build or something, or from other systems like as I mentioned from webhook or scheduled something like that. Now in the market there are loads of workflow engines which you can write up and code. For example, ServiceNow and all those things are workflow engines, but to configure them and write code for them, write application, it's hard. And the thing is, it's because it's a workflow. Normally, processes and events change a lot in the modern world. For example, before COVID, everything was manual, and they did, and suddenly there are no people, then you have to change your workflow to automate a lot of things. Imagine trying to change a system that. So if it's a low no code, it becomes easier to tune or change your workflows. As I mentioned, it's return on investment and ease of adoption. One thing, it should be very easy to develop. Like, let's say if I want to check my website every 5 minutes, I shouldn't write a new Java program, write a Maven code, deploy it to somewhere. No, not really. No. It should be easily able to test. For example, I can test it for my website localhost or test Agile Guru or whatever. You just change the parameter, copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste, and just change the parameter. So it should be able to test. Once you develop your workflow, you should be able to share it or deploy it somewhere. For example, you can upload it to Git and someone else can take it and change the parameters and do it. So it should be able to deploy and share very easily. Now you may be wondering why. So as I mentioned, it should be able. Now, given the topic is low no code, but also OS and free, I was searching for a lot of them, but some of the things which pulled me towards n8n is its documentation and also the ease of deployment and the ease of development. For example, you can develop using online, like here what I do, or you can use an app. For example, on my Mac, there is an app also, which I'm not going to open, but if you see there is an n8n app which you can open and you can work with it. So you can develop everything, save it, and then upload it to Git and someone else can import. So well, that's one of the reason I went for n8n. As I mentioned, there are lots of features which are available, which is development. As I mentioned, it's local development. You can use a web app or app, both. But the reason being, let's say, if you're using a thick client like an app, it's more performant and you can do a lot of stuff. And without a web app which is shared, then you may screw up things. So it's better to develop locally, export it, and let someone import it. And also the integration support. For example, if you go to n8n, right, its integrations is like huge, like 300 or 400 integration. You think of something, for example, if I want to annoy, let's say, Akshay, what I can do is send him a Discord, like an email trigger every 5 minutes and say login, 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 and not login. So I can annoy him, or you can do, like, for example, if DHL is sending me something, I can literally go. So you can see the amount of integration which is available. I will be showing one with Google GCS bucket in a secure manner, and I'll be showing that. So integration support, and then as I mentioned, this is for development. Let's say you want to develop a workflow and you want to do. Now, how do you deployment? Now, let's say once you do the development and you upload it to Git and somebody wants to productionize it, you can either, by default, the local one uses SQLite, but for a production system, of course, SQLite is not scalable. So what you can do is when you deploy, you connect to a MySQL instance or a PostgreSQL instance. I will show you mine, for example. I don't know whether it's possible. I don't know. I will, if it's required, I can show you, but you can use LDAP or something to log in, but you can connect to a database and then do it. Here it is. So for example, I'm using a Postgres user database to do it, right? Postgres. So that's what I'm using. Okay. So that's what it is. And then you can use various authentication methods. As I showed you, you can use LDAP or username, passwords. And second one is sharing and importing. As I mentioned, you can literally export your workflow and then import it into a system. So development is very Any questions so far from uh, customer from our people? Not right now. Okay. Shall we go to the demo then? Yeah. Okay. Then we can go to the demo. Now, for the demo purposes, I'm going to use some web cases, and I'm going to do the online version, which is available on workflows and all. Akshay is going to also trigger some. Akshay, do you have the link to the webhook demo one? The one which I sent was, I think, let me know, production URL, webhook/agile guru. Yes. Let me send you the URL anyway so that you can trigger it from. Uh, have you got it? You should have got it in the. Yeah, okay. That's the production URL. Okay, but it doesn't do anything much. I'm going to shut it down later so that people don't abuse it. Right? So, a workflow normally, as I mentioned in my thing, it can be what do you say? Um, let me go uh, workflow engines. Yeah, I think this site. So as I mentioned, it can be manual from other system. Example, webhook is one of them, and it can be scheduled. Right, a scheduled one will be where you can say check every 1 minute or something. Yeah. So let's say I'll take one example, a manual check. Let's say if I create one, let's say if I say trigger on a manually, and I want to, let's say, an HTTP request. Send an HTTP request. No, I don't want a, sorry, that's not the one. And you see, it's very easy to develop. So I want to say HTTP request, and I want to send a request to, let's say, wiki.agileguru.org, https// I don't want to send parameters, and I'll say execute node and see, so you got some data, which is good. So I think it's working. Now back to that thing, and then you can execute the whole workflow and test if it's working okay. And you can just save it. So as you see, it's your imagination. For example, you want to write to a GCS bucket, Google Storage bucket, or an S3 bucket, which is in Amazon, or file store. I mean, you can literally do, for example, HTTPS certificate management, everything. And you can have if conditions and all those things. I'm not going to go into too much detailed one. So let me pick one, which is manually checking different website. I'm sure you know that as part of my learning, I have lots of websites. So what I do is, let's say I have a job, every time when I feel like it, after making changes, I want to execute. So what I can do is come here and say execute workflow, and it literally goes and checks a lot of things. And if there is an error, it will tell me. For example, let's say if I make the workflow as org1, yes, let's say by mistake I did it, it's on doing on purpose. You see, it's an error, unknown error, check the details. So what you can do is you can go to executions, and then you can find out what it is. So it's a very easy thing to do. Let me, looks like a coding error. So unknown error, get address not found, means address is not found. So obviously now execute node, test that local thing, that step first, and you see everything is working, and then everything is working, you can save it again. Now the good thing about this one is you can then download it, export it, or duplicate it, or you can literally have other steps. You can import from a file and everything, and you can do a setting. For example, error workflow. If there is a problem, if there is an error, which one you should trigger, and then executions and everything, and you can set timeouts. For example, if the website is slow, you can set the timeout to be a little bit less. Any questions from anyone? No, not really. Think about DevOps is normally associated with software delivery, right? Like you create a system. But let's say once you deploy, you want to send out notifications or you want other system people to trigger, you can write the workflow here, which can be changing. Now, you don't want to hardcode this in your application per se. So, what you can do is this can enhance your DevOps practices. And the good thing is, these practices doesn't need to be done by a technical, full-on technical coder. It can be done by a business analyst or a product owner or a semi-technical person who can then make the whole experience far better. Yeah, does it answer? Exactly correct. Yeah, any tech person can more than it doesn't have to be actually technical. As you see, I'm literally going and typing some of the parameters, but you can say, oh, if it fails, then trigger other one or send a thing. For example, let's say uh, you are doing a client acquisition where you get a new client and you have to execute a workflow where you create a Google cloud storage thing. Yeah. So, for example, let's say, so what I have done here, that is an example. Uh, Log into Google Cloud Storage and create an object called Guru. What we'll do is instead of Guru, let's say Guru and Akshay, let's say Akshay. And what was the name of the person who asked the question? As Sangati. Okay. So I'm not hard coding here to let people know that this is not hard coded, and this is a demo with Sangati. Yeah. So let's save this and go and execute it. To show the demo, what I'm going to do is this is where in Google Cloud I am creating the bucket, means it's creating the file. If you see, this is empty, and when I execute the workflow, it says succeeded. So I hope it creates one. Yay, we got it. So if you look at this Sangati and the authenticated URL, and you see this is a demo with Sangati. So you can, this is a sample workflow. You can do a heck lot of workflows where where you can do think of, you can add, let's say you're doing a migration from one bucket to another, you can literally go get all the list from one bucket to another bucket or move buckets and do this. All this can be done literally for free. So, and the good thing is, this is the free version. There is an enterprise version, but for most of the stuff, for normal workflows, this should be more than enough, and it doesn't cost you anything. And the good thing is, you can literally deploy it into a Kubernetes cluster or as a standalone system, or you can use an app to develop locally and then put it to GitHub and share your workflow. Any other questions coming from anyone? Email trigger. I don't have an SMTP server at the minute. Let Tell him to contact us a little bit later. Uh, and Because I don't have an SMTP server at the minute, because I'm just moving my infrastructure from this to cloud, I don't have an email address server yet. But tell him to ping us later, and we will definitely show him how to do it. And the good thing is, uh, the person, what's the name again? Nitish, tell him to download the app and try to do it. It's very easy to do. They can develop themselves. And the only thing you need to do is go into settings, and then you can go and create a credential. For example, um, you can create credentials, templates. You see, I have created a Google Storage credential. This can be SMTP server. So I need to know an SMTP username, password, and everything. Once you set that, you can set up an email trigger. So I need to have a user and password. I don't have an SMTP server at the minute, but once I get it, you can try it with your own SMTP server for Google. I don't want to put my username and password here, so that's what it is. I hope. Uh, no, this is not infrastructure as engineering, right? This is about workflow management. This is not, but you can trigger. Actually, you can trigger. So ISE code you will write somewhere else, but you can trigger it from here if you want to. For example, let's say, let's take a workflow, my workflow, and let's say if I want to add a step, Terraform. Actually, you cannot, but you can do is SSH. You can execute an SSH command, which will be a Terraform apply. You can do that for sure. So yes, you can trigger ISE, but this will not be ISE. You wouldn't go and create a Kubernetes cluster from here. It's not a good idea. Yeah, I hope this makes sense. So, exactly. I couldn't have put it in better words. So this is what is happening, and this is the demo, and we are right on time. So shall we say, okay? Shall we then give the big announcement? After the announcement, we will shut down the live broadcast, and then people can join on the Google Chat Meet. Does everyone has the Google Meet chat? Correct? Okay, fine. Okay, fine. So here comes the bonus. Yes, as you may be knowing that you may be wondering, hey, Agile Guru has some mentoring session videos and he's getting some mentoring session. Now everyone can get it on Wednesday. On Wednesday, it will be 6 p.m. London time, which is 10:30 IST. You may be wondering why so late. Because I have a full-time job and I don't want to skip my working schedules. So on Wednesdays, straight after I finish, have my coffee, and we can implement. And on each mentoring session, on one day there will be one topic. What will be the next topic will be planned well in advance, so you can hop in and hop out, and we can publish those learning events and all those things in a matter. We are trying to find out what is the best methods, maybe Twitter or something like that, but we'll find out. But every Wednesday at 6 p.m. London time, this will be till October when the clocks change. Then it will be 5 p.m. London time, but it will still be 10:30 Indian Standard Time. So that is not going to change. Any other questions? No? Okay. So shall we? So more than welcome to come to my weekly mentoring sessions. This will be technical, non-technical, and other things, and I can share some beautiful code to do this. So that's all for today, and we are damn good on time, exactly 10:30. So thank you very much for logging in, and please join Agile Guru. Share this video with your friends and ask people to to subscribe to my channel so that everyone can benefit. And maybe later, maybe in 6 months or a year's time, you may be one of those people who are a guru now, and you will also become a guru, and you can share your knowledge and your experience. So till then, take care, and bye bye from the live channel, and we'll be going on to the Google Meet channel there. So toodaloo.